Hello, all. I hope you're all doing well. We had a little hiatus due to our Passover holiday, which came and went. God, it was very, very enjoyable. So we are this week in the portion of Acharei Mot, after death, or after the death of the sons of Aaron. And this portion, following the death of the sons of Aaron, this portion starts with the ritual of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, and God tells Moses to tell Aaron that he can't come at will into the Holy of Holies, into the Kodesh Kodashim. Now, there are three ways to enter the Holy of Holies. One is the Moses model, to be like Moses, right? He enters the most inner parts without any special preparation. There's no priestly garments. There's no offering of sacrifices. And we see, but by this, we see that Moses is really the ideal model, right? He doesn't need any correction. He hears God's direct word from between the two cherubs. Now we have a second option, which is to be like Aaron. And this is, by doing this, you have to perform the whole service outlined in this weekly portion, right? And now Aaron has the role to bring those far away closer and to correct their transgressions, as we spoke about in previous portions. Obviously, that being stressed and that tension is sort of teased out with the golden calf, as we discussed in the past. And he is allowed to come into the sanctity if he's done everything required to remove the obstacles that are sort of left on him. These are impressions left on him by the sins of the nations that he's looking to atone for. And because of this, it's necessary for him to uh, participate in these different acts, which are raising the life force in the form of the bull sacrifice, and then the splitting of the forces, the internal forces that we have in us, symbolically done by the taking the goat that we're going to sacrifice inside the camp, and the goat that we are going to send out, cast out, remove those forces from our soul, which is again expressed with the scapegoat, the goat that's sent to Azazel. There's a third option, which is intended for the high priest for generations to come, right? So anyone that's a descendant of Aaron also is going to require this unique time period that will it will make it easier for him to bear the burden of atoning for the sins of Israel, right? So he gets to do this once a year on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, which is capable for atonement. Now, we should realize and note that the desire to unite with God, the source of life, is a constant tendency in the human soul. And this tendency carries with it dangers, of course, as we saw with Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu, who, regardless of their intentions, ended up having an unfortunate death. And uh, in it's interesting to notice that in the description of the order of work, Aaron's name is actually stressed and emphasized. Speak to Aaron, and Aaron gave, and Aaron offered. So we clearly see Aaron there. But in the description of the entry to the Holy of Holies, Aaron's name disappears. It only says, and he took a full fire pan, and he brought, and he put the incense, and he sprinkled, but it doesn't mention his name. It also gets even more curious when the verse stresses that, and no man shall be in the tabernacle when he comes to atone. But there is a man there, and we're talking about Aaron. He himself is there. So what the Torah is telling us that only at that time does Aaron allow himself to be temporarily nullified in the encounter with the divine. Right? Now, because in such a state, it would be possible for us to think that the priest won't want to return to our world, right? After such an experience, after such an ascent, after such a pleasure, the priest doesn't want to leave anymore. Now, this, of course, doesn't benefit the children of Israel, the nation of Israel, the senders who sent Aaron in to the Holy of Holies, right? And we did so in order so he could bring back the flow of purity from God back into our world. We want to bring this spiritual purity back to us and bring these blessings back to the community. And the Zohar, interestingly enough, mentions that it was tradition to tie a string around the leg of the high priest when he would enter the Holy of Holies, so he wouldn't forget that he's tethered back to the world. and he should remember that he's connected back to a world which he was sent to correct. And therefore, the peak of excitement on Yom Kippur is not really the entry of the priest into the Holy of Holies, right, which we think would be the crescendo. Rather, it's his exit from it and his reconnection with the people. Even till today, we sing on Yom Kippur how wonderful it is, how wonderful is the high priest upon his exit. And we need to realize that true spiritual work involves not just the capacity to experience divine mysteries, but also the ability to bring those experiences back and to serve and elevate the communities we're all in. So, if those of us who spend some time or much time in the thinky talky intellectual lands, even doing spiritual work on ourselves, we have to realize that there's families around us, communities around us that could benefit from this as well. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. Take care.